Stop. Do not scroll yet. If this title reached you tonight, it's not random. Because loss has been part of your story for a long time. Not small loss. Not temporary inconvenience. Real loss. Health that slowly declined. Money that slipped away despite effort. Joy that faded without explanation. And you kept going anyway. Affirm, restoring authority, speaks quietly now. Nothing removed from your life was removed without a return plan. You thought it was gone. You accepted it as fate. You told yourself, maybe this is just how life is now. But acceptance was not agreement. It was endurance. Pause here. This is important. A steady reassurance continues. What was taken did not disappear. It was held back until the right time. Held until you were wiser. Held until you were stronger. Held until you would not lose it again. Delay was protection in disguise. Now listen carefully, especially if you feel tired inside. A grounded truth unfolds. Your body has been listening, even when it felt weak. Healing does not always announce itself with energy. Sometimes it begins quietly, with balance returning before strength. What you called decline was preparation for restoration. Slow down. Let this sink in. A restoring presence speaks. Your resources were never meant to end at loss. Money does not only return as numbers. It returns as opportunity, as stability, as relief from constant pressure. What drained you financially taught you discernment. Now return comes with wisdom. Another pause. Affirmation. Joy was not stolen because you were undeserving. Joy withdrew because survival demanded focus. You handled responsibility. You carried weight. You put others first. Joy steps back sometimes. So you don't break under expectation, but always comes back. Now hear this clearly. A firm promise settles in. Restoration does not come back in fragments. Not a little health. Not partial relief. Not temporary happiness. What returns does so with multiplication. Because loss stretched your capacity. Stay here. This next part matters. A steady voice continues. Tonight marks a turning point in momentum. Not fireworks. Not instant perfection. But a shift. Small improvements. Unexpected ease. Favorable timing. The direction changes before the destination appears. Now for those who feel the years have taken too much, a compassionate reminder flows in. Time did not defeat you. It trained you. You learned restraint. You learned patience. You learned how to survive uncertainty. Those lessons are now assets. Do not leave yet. A restoring declaration settles deeply. What returns will not resemble what was lost. It will be better managed. Health with awareness. Wealth with stability. Happiness without fear of disappearance. This time it stays. Before this chapter ends, comment the word, restore. Why this word? Because saying it affirms that you are no longer agreeing with loss. You are aligning with return, balance, and abundance. Just one word, restore. If you want the next chapter, stay ready. Chapter 2, what is returning to you will arrive quietly, then all at once. Stay. This part is deeper than the first, because restoration never begins with noise. It begins with alignment. You may not feel excitement yet. You may still feel cautious. That's because loss trained you to expect disappointment. But something has already shifted. A steady restoring authority moves beneath the surface. I am rebuilding the foundations before revealing the results. You don't pour abundance into cracked structures. You don't return joy to exhausted systems. You strengthen first. That is what is happening now. Pause. This is important. A calm truth continues. Your health is responding before symptoms change. Healing often starts where you can't measure it. Sleep improving, breathing easing, tension releasing. You thought nothing was happening, but your body was listening the entire time. Now listen carefully. especially if you felt financially drained. A firm reassurance unfolds. What you lost financially refined your judgment. You will not repeat the same mistakes. You will not trust the same way. You will not ignore the same signs. Return is coming, with clarity attached. Slow down here. Let this settle. A restoring presence adds. Wealth returning now comes with protection. Not fast money, not unstable gain, but sustainable flow, predictable relief, breathing room. This time, you won't live in fear of losing it again. Another pause. A gentle truth speaks. Happiness is not coming back the way it left. Before it was fragile, dependent on circumstances, easily interrupted. Now it returns grounded, not shaken by every change. Now hear this carefully. A steady declaration continues. You are not being punished. You are being preserved. Preserved from pride. Preserved from collapse. Preserved from loss you wouldn't have survived then. What was removed was protecting what was coming later. Stay with this. A reassuring shift becomes clear. Restoration accelerates after acceptance. The moment you stopped fighting reality and started enduring with dignity, momentum began moving again. Now for those who feel tired of waiting, a compassionate assurance settles in. Delay does not mean denial. Timing was precise. Your growth was necessary. Your capacity had to expand. What's coming requires the person you are now, not the person you were then. Do not leave yet. A powerful promise anchors in. Return begins quietly, but it does not stay small. Health stabilizes. Resources multiply. Joy resurfaces without permission. One improvement triggers another. Before moving to the next chapter, please comment the word return. Why this word? Because it confirms that you are no longer expecting loss. You are prepared for what is coming back multiplied. Just one word, return. Chapter 3 will continue. Chapter 3. What comes back to you will heal more than it replaces. Stay with this. This chapter is not about excitement. It's about completion. Because restoration is not just about getting things back. It's about repairing what loss changed inside you. You didn't only lose health. You lost confidence in your body. You didn't only lose money. You lost ease of mind. You didn't only lose happiness. You lost trust in good moments. That is what is being addressed now. A steady restoring presence speaks clearly. I'm not only returning what was taken, I am correcting the damage it caused. Because returning something without healing the wound would only reopen fear. This time, restoration comes with closure. Pause here. This matters deeply. A calm truth continues. Your health is not returning to its old version. It is recalibrating. Not the body you had before stress, but a body that understands limits. A body that knows rest. A body that recovers faster. This is not rewind. This is upgrade. Now listen carefully, especially if finances once controlled your emotions. A firm reassurance unfolds. Wealth is returning without the panic attached to it. Before, money came with anxiety, with pressure, with fear of loss. Now it returns paired with discernment. You will recognize stability when it arrives, because chaos will not accompany it. Slow down here. Let this settle. A restoring awareness adds. Joy is coming back without asking permission from circumstances. Not because everything becomes perfect, but because joy no longer depends on perfection. You have survived worse than inconvenience. Joy knows that now. Another pause. A grounded insight continues. What you endured trained you to value peace over excitement. That is why what returns will feel calmer than what left. No ruse, no pressure, no fear of collapse. Peace will be the sign. Now hear this clearly. A steady declaration settles in. You are not being restored to prove anything to anyone. Not to show strength. Not to prove faith. Not to impress observers. Restoration is happening because you carried weight without quitting. Stay here. This next part is crucial. A compassionate assurance follows. Your nights will become quieter before your days become brighter. Sleep improves first. Thoughts slow down. Tension releases. Then momentum follows. That order matters. Now for those who feel cautious about hope. A gentle reminder settles in. Hope is safe again. It won't embarrass you. It won't disappear suddenly. It will stay grounded. Do not leave yet. A restoring promise anchors deeply. What returns now will stay because you're no longer the same person who lost it. You are wiser, more measured, more grounded. You know how to hold blessings now. Before this chapter closes, please comment the word, heal. Why this word? Because restoration is not only about receiving. It's about being made whole again. Just one word, heal. Chapter 4 will continue. Chapter 4. What is being restored will outlast what was taken. Stay right here. This chapter is not about relief. It's about assurance. Because the fear that followed loss was never. Will it come back? The real fear was always. What if I lose it again? That fear ends here. A steady, restoring authority speaks with calm certainty. What returns now is designed to remain. Not because circumstances become perfect, but because you have become prepared. What left before did so when foundations were thin. What returns now arrives on reinforced ground. Pause. This is critical. A grounded truth continues. Sustainability matters more than speed. Quick returns vanish quickly. Deep returns endure. That's why restoration has taken time. Time was strengthening the base. Now listen carefully, especially if health loss once frightened you. A reassuring insight unfolds. Vitality returns in layers, not bursts. Energy stabilizes. Recovery shortens. Balance becomes natural. This is not temporary relief. This is rhythm being restored. Slow down here. Let this settle. Affirmation. Your resources will no longer drain faster than they arrive. Leakage has been addressed. Misalignment corrected. Pressure reduced. What returns financially now is designed to circulate, not escape. Another pause. A gentle but firm truth speaks. Happiness will no longer be fragile. Before, joy needed perfect conditions. Now it survives imperfect days. It won't disappear because of one bad moment. It won't vanish at the first challenge. This time, joy has roots. Now hear this clearly. A steady declaration continues. You are entering a season of maintenance, not recovery. Recovery is exhausting. Maintenance is sustainable. You are no longer repairing damage. You are preserving stability. Stay with this. The shift matters. A reassuring promise unfolds. What comes next will require less effort to keep, less monitoring, less fear, less emotional strain, because stability no longer depends on constant vigilance. Now for those who fear being hopeful again, a compassionate reminder settles in. Hope no longer puts you at risk. You won't be embarrassed by expectation. You won't be punished for believing. This time, hope is grounded in reality, not wishful thinking. Do not leave yet. A powerful closing assurance anchors deeply. What is restored now is protected by wisdom you didn't have before. That wisdom was expensive, but it was necessary, and now it pays you back. Before this chapter ends, please comment the word, endure. Why this word? Because it declares that what is returning to you is not temporary. It is built to last. Just one word, endure. Chapter 5 will continue. Chapter 5. What is coming back to you will feel familiar, yet stronger. Stay with this chapter. This one goes deeper. Because restoration doesn't just return things. It reintroduces you to yourself. You remember who you were before the loss, before the exhaustion, before the constant calculations. but you're not going back to that version. A steady, unmistakable reassurance rises within. What returns now will recognize you, and you will recognize your growth. You won't handle blessings the same way. You won't react the same way. You won't fear the same way. That difference is everything. Pause here. Let this land. A grounded truth continues. You were never meant to carry abundance with anxiety. Before, good moments made you nervous. You waited for the other shoe to drop. You enjoyed less than you could. That cycle is ending. Now listen carefully, especially if health struggles change how you see your body. A calm understanding unfolds. Your body is relearning trust. Trust in rest. Trust in recovery. Trust in its own signals. Healing is not forcing strength. It's removing fear from weakness. Slow down. This matters. Affirm assurance adds. Your finances will return with boundaries already built in. You will know when to say no. You will recognize imbalance early. You will choose sustainability over speed. Money won't control your peace anymore. Another pause. A gentle insight speaks. Happiness will arrive quietly and stay longer than you expect, not because everything improves overnight, but because your mind no longer chases extremes. You'll notice laughter returning naturally, moments of ease, unforced smiles. That's the sign. Now hear this clearly. A steady declaration settles in. You are no longer being tested. You are being entrusted. Entrusted with calm. Entrusted with balance. Entrusted with enough. Enough energy. Enough resources. Enough joy. Stay here. This next shift is important. A reassuring presence continues. Restoration will not demand proof from you. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to justify improvement. You don't need to explain why things are getting better. Peace doesn't need permission. Now for those who still feel cautious. A compassionate reminder anchors in. Caution protected you. Now confidence will carry you. You won't be careless. You won't be reckless. But you also won't shrink. Do not leave yet. A powerful closing promise settles deeply. What comes back now will feel like relief, not pressure. No more holding your breath. No more waiting for collapse. This restoration lets you exhale. Before this chapter closes, please comment the word, rebuild. Why this word? Because it affirms that what's returning is not patched together. It's rebuilt with strength, wisdom, and peace. Just one word, rebuild. Chapter 6 will continue. Chapter 6. What is returning to you will change the way you live, not just what you have. Stay right here. This chapter moves from restoration to transformation, because what's coming back is not only about possession. It's about how life feels when you wake up each day. You didn't just lose things. You lost ease. You lost lightness. You lost the ability to move through days without calculation. That is what is being restored now. A steady, transformative assurance speaks clearly. I'm not only giving back, I'm changing how you carry what you receive. Before, blessings came with weight. Now, they arrive with balance. You will not feel overwhelmed by improvement. You will feel supported by it. Pause here. This is essential. A grounded truth continues. Your daily life will begin to feel less tense. Less rushing. Less checking. Less bracing for bad news. Ordinary moments will stop feeling like holding patterns. That shift matters more than dramatic events. Now listen carefully, especially if health issues once dictated your routine. A reassuring insight unfolds. Your body will no longer dictate fear into your schedule. You'll plan without hesitation. You'll move without second-guessing. You'll rest without guilt. Energy will stabilize instead of fluctuate. Slow down. Let this settle. Affirmation said. Money returning will simplify decisions, not complicate them. No constant mat. No es le plus naïts. No emotional attachment to every expense. Resources will support life, not dominate it. Another pause. A gentle but firm truth speaks. Happiness returning will feel calm, not overwhelming. No emotional highs followed by crashes. No dependency on external validation. Joy will become part of routine, not an event. Now hear this clearly. A steady declaration continues. You are stepping into a season of balance. Not excess, not scarcity. Balance, where needs are met and peace remains intact. Stay with this. The shift deepens. A reassuring presence unfolds. What once drained you will no longer demand constant attention. Health stabilizes. Finances s'organisent. Emotions settle. You won't feel like life is chasing you anymore. Now for those who fear the change itself, a compassionate reminder anchors in. You don't have to become someone else to live better. You don't need to reinvent yourself. You don't need to push harder. Life is adjusting around you. Do not leave yet. A powerful closing promise settles deeply. What is returning now will give you room to breathe and space to enjoy it. Not just survival, not just recovery. Living without constant strain. Before this chapter ends, please comment the word balance. Why this word? Because it declares that what's returning is not chaos or pressure. It's a life that feels steady, supported, and sustainable. Just one word, balance. Chapter 7 will continue. Chapter 7. What is being restored will quiet the noise you learn to live with. Stay here. This chapter goes where words usually don't, because the loudest struggles in your life were never visible. They were internal. The constant mental calculations, the background worry that never turned off, the habit of preparing for loss even during good moments. That noise became normal. Now it's ending. A steady, calming authority settles in gently. I am restoring your inner stillness before I expand your outer life. Because abundance without peace only creates new pressure. What returns now starts from the inside. Pause. This is important. A grounded truth continues. Your mind is learning to stand down, not through force, not through distraction, but because safety is returning. Thoughts slow. Fear loosens its grip. The constant alertness fades. That is restoration too. Now listen carefully, especially if worry followed you everywhere. A reassuring insight unfolds. You will stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios. Not because you're careless, but because you're no longer living under threat. Your nervous system recognizes stability before your logic does. Slow down here. Let this sink in. Affirmation. Sleep will improve before circumstances fully change. Rest comes first, then clarity, then momentum. That order is intentional. Another pause. A gentle truth speaks. You were strong because you had to be, not because you wanted to be, not because it was easy. Strength was survival. Now strength is being replaced with support. Now hear this clearly. A steady declaration settles in. You are allowed to stop carrying everything alone. You don't need to anticipate every problem. You don't need to manage every outcome. What returns now shares the weight. Stay with this. The shift deepens. A reassuring presence continues. Peace will begin showing up in ordinary moments. Quiet mornings, unrushed evenings, conversations without tension. These are not small signs. They are proof. Now for those who fear silence because they're used to struggle, a compassionate reminder anchors in. Calm does not mean emptiness. It means safety. Nothing is missing. Nothing is wrong. Your system is finally allowed to rest. Do not leave yet. A powerful closing promise settles deeply. What is being restored will give you mental space you forgot existed. Space to think clearly. Space to enjoy without fear. Space to live without constant defense. Before this chapter closes, please comment the word quiet. Why this word? because it affirms that restoration is not only about gain. It's about the noise finally stopping. Just one word, quiet. Chapter 8 will continue.
Chapter 8, What is Returning will rewrite the story you told yourself. Stay right here. This chapter reaches deeper. Because the longest damage of loss was not external. It was the story you learned to tell yourself. I have to be careful. I can't expect much. I should not hope too loudly. Those sentences protected you once. But they are no longer needed. A steady, renewing presence moves in quietly. I am restoring your permission to expect good again. Not recklessly. Not blindly. But without fear. Pause. Let this breathe. A grounded truth continues. What returns now challenges the limits you placed on yourself. Limits created by disappointment. Boundaries shaped by survival. They helped you endure. But they were never meant to be permanent. Now listen carefully, especially if you became emotionally cautious. A calm insight unfolds. You will notice yourself planning again. Planning weekends. Planning improvements. Planning joy, without canceling it in your mind. That's restoration speaking first through imagination. Slow down here. This matters. A reassuring assurance adds. Your body will respond to hope before your circumstances do. Posture straightens. Breathing deepens. Energy steadies. These are signals, not coincidences. Another pause. A gentle but firm truth speaks. What is returning will not require you to lower expectations. You won't need to settle. You won't need to negotiate peace. What comes now meets you at the level you've grown into. Now hear this clearly. A steady declaration settles in. You are no longer living in recovery mode. Recovery watches for relapse. Restoration builds forward. You are shifting from defense to direction. Stay with this. The change is real. A reassuring presence continues. Old fears will surface briefly, then lose authority. They may whisper. They may remind you of past loss. But they will not decide your future anymore. Now for those who feel unsure about believing again. A compassionate reminder anchors in. Belief is safe when it's grounded in growth. You are not the same person who lost things before. You carry wisdom now. That wisdom protects hope. Do not leave yet. A powerful closing promise settles deeply. What is returning will feel natural, because it aligns with who you've become. Not forced. Not fragile. Aligned. Before this chapter ends, please comment the word, align. Why this word? Because it affirms that restoration isn't random. It's matching your growth with what you're ready to hold. Just one word, align. Chapter 9 will continue. Chapter 9, What is Returning will settle where it belongs. Stay with this chapter. This one is about placement, not arrival. Because many times in the past, good things came to you. But didn't stay where they should have. They arrived. Then slipped. They helped. Then drained. That cycle ends now. A steady, clarifying presence speaks with certainty. I am not just bringing things back, I am placing them correctly. Correct placement brings peace. Misplacement brings effort. What returns now will fit your life instead of disrupting it. Pause here. This distinction matters. A grounded truth continues. What belongs to you will no longer require constant adjustment. You won't have to fight to keep it. You won't have to overmanage it. You won't have to explain it away. It will sit naturally in your life. Now listen carefully, especially if you've had blessings that came with stress. A calm insight unfolds. Stress was never a sign of value, it was a sign of misalignment. What is aligned doesn't exhaust you. It supports you. What returns now will add steadiness instead of tension. Slow down. Let this settle. A reassuring assurance adds. Health returning will integrate into your routine, not dominate it. You won't plan your life around symptoms. You won't measure every day by limitation. Well-being becomes background, not a battle. Another pause. A firm but gentle truth speaks. Resources returning will stop pulling your attention constantly. Money will stop being emotional. Decisions will stop feeling urgent. Provision becomes a quiet companion, not a loud concern. Now hear this clearly. A steady declaration settles in. Happiness will no longer feel temporary. Before, you held it loosely, afraid to enjoy it fully. Now, you will live inside it, without fear. Joy will settle into your days, not hover above them. Stay with this. The shift deepens. A reassuring presence continues. You are entering a season where things stay in place. Relationships stabilize. Routines calm. Progress becomes predictable. Nothing dramatic, but everything dependable. Now for those who learn to expect instability. A compassionate reminder anchors in. Consistency is not boring, it is healing. Your system needed excitement once to survive. Now it needs reliability to thrive. Do not leave yet. A powerful closing assurance settles deeply. What is returning will not compete with your peace, it will protect it. That is how you'll recognize it's real. Before this chapter ends, please comment the word, placed. Why this word? Because it confirms that what's returning is not random. It is settling exactly where it belongs in your life. Just one word, placed. Chapter 10 will continue. Chapter 10, what is being restored will bring closure to a long season. Stay here. This chapter is heavier, but freeing. Because some seasons don't just drain resources. They leave open loops. Questions that never got answers. Efforts that never felt complete. Pain that never fully resolved. That unfinished feeling has followed you quietly. Now it's ending. A steady, resolving presence speaks with calm finality. I am closing what was left open in your life. Not abruptly. Not harshly. But completely. What needed explanation will no longer need it. What demanded answers will lose urgency. Closure is arriving. Pause. This is critical. A grounded truth continues. Not everything needed to be fixed, some things needed to be finished. You tried to repair situations that were never meant to continue. Letting them end was part of restoration. Now listen carefully, especially if you still replay old moments. A calm insight unfolds. Your mind will stop returning to unresolved chapters. The emotional charge fades. The memory loses control. Not because you forgot, but because it no longer defines you. Slow down here. Let this settle. A reassuring assurance adds. Health restoration includes emotional release. The body remembers stress long after events pass. That stored tension is being released. You may feel lighter without knowing why. That's completion happening. Another pause. A firm but gentle truth speaks. Financial closure is coming too. Old debts, emotional or practical, lose their grip. What once felt like catching up becomes moving forward. Now hear this clearly. A steady declaration settles in. You are no longer living in a chapter that requires explanation. You don't owe anyone justification. You don't need to revisit what hurt. That chapter did its work. Now it closes. Stay with this. The shift matters. A reassuring presence continues. What comes next will not be shaped by what happened before. No overcorrection. No fear-driven decisions. You move forward clean. Not cautious. Now for those who feel emotional weight lifting already. A compassionate reminder anchors in. Closure is peace without noise. No announcements. No dramatic moments. Just relief. Do not leave yet. A powerful closing promise settles deeply. What is being restored will not carry the burden of the past. It arrives fresh. Uncontaminated. Free. And so do you. Before this chapter ends, please comment the word, closed. Why this word? Because it affirms that what drained you is no longer active. The season is finished, resolved, and complete. Just one word, closed. Chapter 11 will continue. Chapter 11, what returns now will move your life forward, not back. Stay with this chapter. This is where momentum replaces memory. Because one of the quiet fears you carried was this. If things come back, will I be pulled into the same cycle again? The answer is no. A steady, forward-moving presence speaks with clarity. Restoration does not rewind your life, it advances it. You are not going back to relive old patterns. You are not returning to old versions of yourself. You are stepping into continuation, not repetition. Pause here. This distinction matters. A grounded truth continues. What returns now carries direction. Before, blessings arrived without structure. They felt good, but lacked guidance. Now, return comes with purpose. Each improvement points forward. Now listen carefully, especially if you fear slipping into old habits. A calm insight unfolds. You will recognize progress by how natural it feels. No forcing. No chasing. No proving. Movement forward will feel steady. Not rushed. Slow down. Let this settle. A reassuring assurance adds. Health returning will support activity, not restrict it. You won't live cautiously around your body. You'll live confidently within it. Your energy will serve your plans, not interrupt them. Another pause. A firm but gentle truth speaks. Resources returning will open options, not obligations. Money will give choices, not pressure, not dependency. You'll notice freedom increasing before numbers do. Now hear this clearly. A steady declaration settles in. Happiness returning will encourage growth, not comfort stagnation. Joy won't trap you in the present. It will motivate movement. You'll want to build, to improve, to explore again. Stay with this. The shift is real. A reassuring presence continues. You are no longer repairing yesterday, you are preparing tomorrow. Your decisions reflect foresight now. Your thoughts aim ahead. The past loses its pull. Now for those who still glance backward out of habit. A compassionate reminder anchors in. Looking back no longer informs your future. You learned what you needed to learn. You paid what you needed to pay. Now, you walk lighter. Do not leave yet. A powerful closing assurance settles deeply. What is restored now creates momentum that does not stall. Progress becomes normal. Stability becomes expected. Growth becomes sustainable. This is forward life. Before this chapter ends, please comment the word, forward. Why this word? Because it declares that restoration is not pulling you into the past. It is carrying you into what's next. Just one word, forward. Chapter 12 will continue. Chapter 12, what is being restored will protect you from relapsing into old struggles. Stay right here. This chapter is about security, not excitement. Because even as things begin to improve, a quiet concern sometimes rises. What if I fall back into the same struggle again? That concern is understood. And it is being addressed. A steady, protective assurance speaks with calm authority. I am not restoring you without reinforcing you. Nothing returns unguarded. Nothing improves without boundaries. What comes back now comes with protection built in. Pause here. This matters deeply. A grounded truth continues. You will recognize protection by what no longer reaches you. Situations that once drained you will stop appearing. Patterns that once repeated will lose access. This is not avoidance. This is maturity creating distance. Now listen carefully, especially if past setbacks still worry you. A calm insight unfolds. Triggers will surface, but they will no longer control outcomes. You'll notice them sooner. Respond faster. Detach without guilt. Awareness becomes your shield. Slow down. Let this settle. A reassuring assurance adds. Your health will no longer decline quietly. Signals will be clearer. Recovery will be quicker. Support will arrive sooner. Your body is no longer left to manage alone. Another pause. A firm but gentle truth speaks. Resources returning will include safeguards. Better decisions. Clearer priorities. Stronger limits. Loss will no longer slip in unnoticed. Now hear this clearly. A steady declaration settles in. You are no longer vulnerable the way you once were. Not because you hardened, but because you learned. Wisdom now stands where fear once lived. Stay with this. The shift is real. A reassuring presence continues. You will feel calmer even when facing uncertainty. Because uncertainty no longer feels threatening. You know how to navigate it now. That confidence is earned. Now for those who worry improvement might be temporary. A compassionate reminder anchors in. Temporary relief feels fragile, true restoration feels steady. You are experiencing steadiness now. That's the sign. Do not leave yet. A powerful closing assurance settles deeply. What is restored now will not slip away quietly. If something tries to drift, you will notice. If something threatens peace, you will respond. You are guarded now. Before this chapter ends, please comment the word, secure. Why this word? Because it affirms that what is returning to you is not exposed or fragile. It is protected, supported, and sustained. Just one word: secure. Chapter 13 will continue. Chapter 13, what is being restored will stay because you are no longer alone in it. Stay with this chapter. This one brings reinforcement. Because the hardest part of your past season was not the loss itself. It was carrying everything by yourself. Decisions alone. Fear alone. Responsibility alone. That isolation is ending. A steady, assuring presence speaks with quiet strength. What returns now is supported, so you don't have to carry it alone anymore. Support doesn't always look like people. Sometimes it looks like clarity. Sometimes timing. Sometimes protection you didn't have before. But it is real. Pause here. This matters. A grounded truth continues. You were never weak, you were unsupported. Strength was forced out of necessity. Now strength is accompanied by structure. That changes everything. Now listen carefully, especially if responsibility once overwhelmed you. A calm insight unfolds. You will notice help arriving before exhaustion sets in. Problems won't pile up unnoticed. Relief will appear sooner. Decisions will feel lighter. This is not coincidence. This is reinforcement. Slow down. Let this settle. A reassuring assurance adds. Your health will no longer rely on willpower alone. Rest will come naturally. Recovery will be assisted. Balance will be maintained. You are no longer pushing your body in silence. Another pause. A firm but gentle truth speaks. Resources returning will connect to wisdom outside of you. Advice you trust. Choices you don't rush. Boundaries you respect. Provision now comes with guidance. Now hear this clearly. A steady declaration settles in. You are stepping into shared strength. Not dependency. Not loss of control. But support that multiplies stability. Stay with this. The shift deepens. A reassuring presence continues. You will feel less pressure to hold everything together. Because things will begin holding themselves. Through order, rhythm, and alignment. You'll notice relief before celebration. Now for those who learn to rely only on themselves. A compassionate reminder anchors in. Accepting support is not weakness, it's wisdom. You carried enough alone. Now you're allowed to receive. Do not leave yet. A powerful closing assurance settles deeply. What is restored now stays because it is sustained by more than effort. It is sustained by understanding. By protection. By timing. And by growth you earned. Before this chapter ends, please comment the word, supported. Why this word? Because it declares that you are no longer carrying restoration by yourself. You are backed, reinforced, and upheld. And if this message is speaking to you, don't walk this journey alone. Subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter. Each one builds on the last, step by step. Just one word to comment, supported. Chapter 14 will continue. Chapter 14, what is being restored will teach you how to receive without fear. Stay right here. This chapter is about release. Because even good things once made you tense. You didn't relax when help arrived. You didn't soften when improvement showed up. You waited, quietly. For the cost. That habit was learned during loss. Now it is being unlearned. A calm, reassuring presence speaks gently. You don't have to brace yourself anymore. Nothing coming back to you now arrives with hidden conditions. No sudden reversals. No emotional fine print. What returns is clean. Pause here. This is important. A grounded truth continues. Receiving without fear is a skill, and you are learning it now. Your shoulders relax faster. Your breathing deepens sooner. Your mind stops scanning for threats. These are signs of safety, not weakness. Now listen carefully, especially if gratitude once came with anxiety. A steady insight unfolds. You will stop apologizing for improvement. You won't downplay good news. You won't minimize progress. You'll allow joy to exist. Without explaining why. Slow down. Let this settle. A reassuring assurance adds. Your health will respond to ease as much as effort. Healing accelerates when tension leaves. Strength stabilizes when fear quiets. Your body recognizes when it's safe to recover. Another pause. A firm but gentle truth speaks. Resources returning will no longer trigger guilt. You earned this season. You learn through loss. Receiving now does not take from anyone. It restores balance. Now hear this clearly. A steady declaration settles in. You are allowed to enjoy what arrives. No waiting period. No emotional tax. Joy does not need justification. Stay with this. The shift deepens. A reassuring presence continues. You will notice yourself saying yes without hesitation. Yes to rest. Yes to help. Yes to good days. That ease is not careless. It's healed. Now for those who still feel cautious at the edge of blessing. A compassionate reminder anchors in. Fear kept you alive, trust will let you live. You don't need to abandon wisdom. Just release alarm. Do not leave yet. A powerful closing assurance settles deeply. What is being restored will not punish you for receiving it. No backlash. No loss. Only continuity. Before this chapter ends, please comment the word, receive. Why this word? Because it declares that you are ready to accept what returns. Without fear, guilt, or hesitation. If these chapters are guiding you, subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Each chapter builds protection, peace, and clarity. Just one word to comment, receive. Amen.